Well, welcome back, my friends. This is Kaiju 2014-117. Today, we're going to be talking about my first ever Resident Evil game I ever played, and probably my most favorite Resident Evil game of all time. So, before Resident Evil 2, there was one game that I loved the most, and I played it a lot over and over, and it is Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 was one of my most favorite games of all time, and it's still to this day. So let's talk some few things about it. And then I'll talk about my personal experience and my story of how I was introduced to Resident Evil 4. So, Resident Evil 4 takes place after Resident Evil 3, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil Code Veronica X, like about 6 years ever since 1998. It takes place, I do not know exactly which area, but it sounds Spaniard in a way. It's to talk about Leon S. Kennedy, which his mission is to find the missing daughter of the President of the United States. Her name is Ashley Graham. Now, his mission is to protect her and secure her to safety and annihilate any hostiles that gets in the way. Now, when I first played the game, I thought I'm going to be fighting zombies. But I was like, huh? What's that? Then, turns out I was fighting humans. Until later on, it turns out they're not humans. They're actually infected by a parasite called the Las Plagas, which that was a new type of enemies we never seen. Now, what is so interesting about Resident Evil 4 is not Umbrella related. It is something from its own thing. Basically, it is outside of Umbrella or outside of any of government experiment. This is something like an ancient being that takes host of a human being, and it's been doing it for I don't know how long. But that was such an interesting take on Resident Evil 4. And that's one thing why many people like it, because it's taking a new step turn onto something new. Now, the first time I was like, oh gosh, it is kind of terrifying, but it's more like intense. Until there were some enemies I feel was very terrifying, including some of them that were almost unkillable. Now, what I love about the game, I like how we can actually aim. Now, this is the first game that actually introduces to a third-person view. Before Resident Evil 5, 6, even Resident Evil 2 Remake, and Resident Evil 3 Remake. This was the first Resident Evil game that actually goes to third-person view, where we can see it over the shoulder and then shoot the enemy. Which, in a way, kind of makes it feel we can actually control the aim, especially when you shoot them in the head. However, 3 shots in the head, or even 4 or 5, was a lot. I don't think any normal zombies or humans would survive that. Even though Resident Evil 2 make the zombies a lot harder to kill. So, but what's also interesting is when you take off the head completely, the plagas from within the body grows out, and that was another gross, terrifying thing I've ever seen. Yeah, so also what I do like the mechanics is when you shoot the enemy, they get phased a little bit, you can get near them and then strike them, and you can use your knife to try to take them down, which in a way helps, even though it feels action-oriented in a way, but it gives us the idea how we can survive, conserve ammo, especially when you want to make the game harder. And honestly, this was probably one of my most favorite game of all. Now, there are some few people who hated Ashley Graham because she's annoying. Now, I kid you not, I actually like that character, and I actually do like trying to make sure I'm protecting her at all costs. However, that doesn't deny that she's freaking annoying whenever she screams, "Leon, help! Ah!" That is kind of annoying, especially when she has to keep calling your name again and again and again and again and again. So, yeah, overall, I love Resident Evil 4. And if you guys are a huge fan, I do recommend buying Resident Evil 4 when you can. It is one of my most favorite games, and it's probably one of the best Resident Evil game of all time. However, Resident Evil 2 is still one of my top favorite Resident Evil games, including the remake. So what do I think about this game? Should I give it a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10? Well, since this was my first Resident Evil game I ever played, and it's what introduced me to the Resident Evil franchise. I would give it a 10 out of 10. Plus, I like Leon. He was an awesome, badass character. And, hey guys, so unfortunately, my camera just suddenly stopped recording from the part where I was about to say why I love about the game. So let's do it quickly, and then I'll talk about a quick story about myself. So anyways, my overall thoughts, I should give this game at least a 10 out of 10 because I love how Resident Evil 4 takes us a new turn and gives us a new type of gameplay, and how interesting the character was, and including some enemies. Now, let's talk about a quick story of what brought me into Resident Evil. So Resident Evil 4 was my very first game when I was, I would say, in middle school to high school time. Back in, I would say, somewhere 2008 and 9. Yes, I was pretty either old or young at the time. My uncles brought in their Wii, and that's when I first got introduced to Resident Evil 4. And I gotta say, playing it on Wii was a little bit easier than playing on the PS2 or PS4. The reason is because you can actually control the aim as you're holding the controller and then take out the enemy. Now, is it easy? No, it's not, but it's definitely more accurate. And I definitely like Resident Evil 4 ever since I played that game. However, the Wii was no longer functioning properly, so I lost the chance, which is why I bought the PlayStation 2 version. I was lucky enough to get it, and it was still working. And it's still, to this day, it's still working. I have the disc and the cover. And because I love Resident Evil 4 so much, I decided to buy on a PS4 digitally. And it's actually looked great on a PS4. And also what I love about Resident Evil 4 is because Ada's campaign and Ada's side mission. Now, you will be disappointed if you play on a PS4 for Ada Wong's mission. It's because, well, if you know the main campaign was all HD, the PS4 doesn't provide that for Ada's campaign, which is greatly disappointing for me. But I wouldn't say it's like very, very bad, but I still enjoy the gameplay otherwise, and I won't judge it by 100% on its graphics. But anyways, that was my story, and that's how I started Resident Evil. And ever since I played Resident Evil 4, I wanted to play the future Resident Evil games. And then when Resident Evil 6 was coming out, we have to play Resident Evil 5. So me and my brother pitched in to buy a PlayStation 3, and then we got it for him for his birthday and play Resident Evil 5. And we'll explain how we like Resident Evil 5 for the next review. But for now, this will conclude our part 2-ish of our review. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and tell me, what is it you like about Resident Evil 4? Have you ever played this game? Is it your favorite Resident Evil game, or were there other Resident Evil games that you enjoy? Or is this your worst Resident Evil game? Because there are a couple or a few who actually hate this game because of its different gameplays and different feelings and all those. But let me know what you guys think. Anyways, thank you guys so much, and thank you for taking your time watching my video, and I hope to see you guys soon. This is Kaiju 2014-117, signing out.